So with the market being where it is now with the slowdown, I thought I should cover a video on how to find killer real estate deals in Ontario during this high interest rate period. And we're seeing rates kind of rising a little bit again, and the market is slowing down. We're probably going to see some more deals, especially as we're heading into the winter. This is kind of what happened last year. That was when I found the best deals for my clients, and I found some of the best opportunities, and I think that's going to happen again. So I'm going to tell you some things you need to understand and things to look out for in order to do that. So just pay attention and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, because I'm going to keep putting out content like this, especially in regards to the Hamilton, Ontario market specifically, but also covering the general Canadian and Ontario markets. The first thing you want to do is know your market. So you need to pick an area and a property type, because if you're scattered and you're going through like different cities, different markets, different property types, you're trying to understand too many things. No one can do that. Even realtors that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, they focus on certain parts of their respective markets. That's what they specialize in. They might do business elsewhere, but even for those brokers, they can't really fathom every single thing in order to understand all the little micro trends happening in every market. So you shouldn't try to do that either, especially if you're a newer investor. It's easier to find a market within a city, right? So a smaller area in a city with a specific property type that you want to specialize in. Because once you understand the little nuances of that specific type of property, you'll understand everything about it. For example, in a city like Hamilton, Ontario, there's 500,000 people. There's over 200,000 homes. So for you to try to understand all of the data and the trends that are happening with those assets in that area, it's going to be very problematic. You're going to find yourself very confused, and you're going to get annoyed, and you might get yourself into a bad deal if you try to do something that you don't fully understand. So number two, you need to understand different aspects of the deal that you're trying to find. So once you understand the area and the property type, you need to know the numbers. What are those properties going for? What are they trading at? What are they trading at when they're a certain quality? So when they're unfinished, or when they're not turnkey, versus when they're like flip quality, like high-end finishes, right? You need to understand what the rental costs are in the area. What are the trends? Most importantly, you need to understand what the city allows and the regulations, because even if it's your personal home that you're going to move into, if you want to add a basement unit, you want to understand what the city is looking for in order for you to do that. In different cities, there's different regulations. So you got to understand that stuff, or else you could end up making a mistake that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Now, number three, this is the most important part. Once you have this foundational knowledge about the market, the numbers, the property types, the types of projects, and you understand these things about what you're looking for, you're going to need to focus on the individual properties when they come up. Now, when they come up, you're going to want to look at all these things I'm going to say. First of all, in this market that we're heading into, properties are going to be sitting. So you want to understand how long a property has been sitting. And I'll discuss later why that might not be important in some cases, but for the most part, if a property is sitting for a long time, you're going to want to focus on that one, because as we're heading into the winter, everything in your environment has slowed down, and we're in the winter and no one's going out for showings, and there's very little real estate transactions happening. And now your property's been sitting for over a month or 2 months. Generally speaking, properties are selling in 2 to 3 weeks. At least they are in my market. And this is why you need to understand these things about your market. Then you're going to know, okay, this person's property's been here for X amount of time. We're now in a slow season. They're not getting offers. They're not getting showings. And that might be an opportunity there. The next thing is timing, right? So you want to time the season, not generally like just the market. Like if you're trying to time like, oh, I know in this month, this year, I heard this news that everything's going to crash. That's wrong. I'm talking about seasonality, kind of like now. When you see there's a slowdown coming and things are shifting, when you see an opportunity that's the time like you really want to go extra hard and you just want to press down because you can really squeeze sellers, right? And it's just like I was talking about earlier with the shifting market. We know that that's when opportunities come up. So when you see that and it's time, you got to go for it, right? So that's the only time you really want to think about timing the market. But the problem is most people, when they are in that kind of a market, they don't even know it and they think things are going to drop further. And then they wait for this forever cycle of like, okay, when our property is going to be at their all time lows. So people know what a good deal is, but you can find opportunities in those markets. Whereas when things are busy, it's spring, everyone's out, and maybe rates are a little bit better, everyone is rushing to go see the property. People are offering early, like, you don't even get a chance. So that's the only time you should try to time things, when you know what to look for and you understand the trends, and then you just jump in when you know things are like in that season. So other things you can look at is stuff like pictures, right? You're gonna look at the pictures of the property. If there's no pictures, that's an indication that they don't want you to see something. And usually those are the properties that are run down, they have damage. Sometimes it's really serious damage, so you need to know what you're working with because they might want you to offer on the property sight unseen. So it's a risky kind of play, but that's where some opportunity does. Now, when there are pictures, if you see bad quality pictures or you see little things in the pictures, like you could look at the basement, you could look at the upper levels of a property and kind of see the quality of the finishes, or you could see like leftover work or unfinished work, right? Or stuff that's like half-assed. So those are opportunities too, because you can see that these people couldn't fix up the property and list it. They're probably in a rush, especially in a market like this. So that's an indication as well. So if you're not working with an agent, right, I highly advise you work with someone who already understands this stuff so you don't have to, because it's going to avoid years of learning and experience and negotiation. Like, you got to remember, you're trying to understand trends, you're trying to understand property values, costs of renovations if needed, and you're trying to understand how to negotiate. You're trying to do all these jobs, so you can't really do them yourself. You might as well just leverage an agent, right? So try to work with an agent and get them to look at a lot of this stuff for you. And if it's the right person, they'll be doing that anyways, right? But if you're going directly to the agent, you can ask the seller's agent, right, a lot of questions. Like, and you have to be careful. Like, what I do as an agent is I ask a lot of indirect questions. So I might be like, hey, so are the sellers flexible on closing? Because we can see information, right? Like, it'll say flexible, and they'll be like, yeah. I'm like, cool. So does that mean they're looking for a quick closing? Even though they didn't say that, I'm going to say that to see their reaction, right? So if they tell me, hey, they're okay with like something longer, but ideally maybe something like this, it gives you information, because when you ask questions like that, they're going to reveal something else. I've had instances where they just flat out tell me, hey, look, they bought another property and they need to close on it on this date. Okay, great. You're going to make it easier for me to make the seller happier, and that could potentially mean thousands of dollars to them, meaning I get that as a value in my offer. So if I give them what they want, they'll take mine over another one, maybe that's even paying more. The next thing, and this is kind of a bonus, I won't touch on this too much, but if you're throwing conditions on there in your offer, or if your agent is, you're going to want to be careful, because it could work with you or against you. So if you put conditions in, a lot of times you're going to want to do your due diligence. And in a slow market, it's great, because even the worst deals that would have just sold as is quickly for a great price, sight unseen without conditions, now in these markets you can throw inspection, right? For example, that's a common one. So you can use something like that to go view the property and really understand everything, and that gives you time to really even bring in contractors to the property, right? So you can really get a good estimate of the scope of the work and the costs. And a lot of times if you find something that's troubling that wasn't apparent before, now you can leverage that to bring down the price of the seller, right? The way conditions could work against you is, if you're putting conditions on some of these properties, in some cases, the sellers don't want to see that. Obviously you want leverage, but sometimes the best thing to do, if you work with the right agent, like with some sellers agents, they're a lot easier to work with. Some people are just straightforward. The sellers want them to be as well. So they'll just tell you like, hey, look, this is the situation. This is the bare minimum. We're not going below this. Like, So then someone like that, if they're open, you can build rapport with them too and just let them know, hey, I'll give you an offer that you want, clean, no conditions, right? So we won't inspect it, but this is the number we're working with. Sometimes like having these conversations, building rapport, it gives you way more power, and the sellers will appreciate it too. So you can get a really solid offer in without conditions, and you get something at a really good price. So last thing, not all great deals are going to be sitting on the market waiting for a lowballer to come in and kind of work their magic and really squeeze the sellers. I've seen deals go under fair market value in multiple offers at those times, right? So that's what I mean. So don't try to like overcomplicate things. You can achieve that result as well. So yeah, these are the things you're going to want to focus on. Obviously, as you can see, without the foundational stuff, without having an understanding of your market or the areas, you can't do any of this stuff. So you gotta get that groundwork or work with someone who understands that stuff in your market, right? If you're looking in the Hamilton area, I'm a real estate agent. I'm investor focused. I have contacts, resources that work on real estate investment deals, and I know contractors, mortgage brokers, architects, designers. So that's kind of what I offer to my clients when they come here, right? If they're coming from out of town, they don't need to worry about anything. I can break everything down to them in a couple of minutes, and I can connect them with people. Even if it's something I don't know, I'll know someone who does. So you want to work with someone like that to avoid all these headaches. But if you're going to go for it, just pay attention to these things. And with the market coming up, you might be able to find some great deals. All right. So I hope you found value out of this video. If you did, please try to like the video and subscribe, and reach out to me if you're looking into the Hamilton market. I'll leave my contact info below, and you can also download the free Hamilton investment guide down below.